Welcome back, everyone, to the Horror Shed Podcast Part 2. I'm your co-host, Jared. We have the infamous and one and only South Jersey Jason, because there is an imposter.
Yeah, we have a Roy somewhere in Jersey.
There's a Roy. And we have with us Brian Koppen from Night of Terror. How are you tonight, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Good. I think that was a better energy opening, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, very cool.
So, where's Brian again from?
Night of Terror.
And that's in the good old state of New Jersey.
Damn right.
Like 10 minutes from your house, right? About so?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And that was my go-to attraction when I used to live in Jersey. It was a 45-minute drive for me, and I started going there back in 2008, I think.
Mhm.
So, all right. So before we talk with Brian and what it's like to work and run an attraction, you are a haunt reviewer. You wear that lovely hat every episode we record, and people are like, "What the hell is that HH and 365?"
Yeah.
So you run Halloween Haunts 365, and that's actually how we met. You had reached out to me because you had interviewed me for your website. So for our listeners and our listener on Twitch, Rick, what is Halloween Haunts 365?
It is a haunt attraction content creation podcast, website, news, interviews, anything to do with the haunted attractions, we're going to cover it.
Okay. And what made you want to create this entity?
I have no problem telling that story. Well, me and the wife, we about 2015 went to a ton of haunts. Maybe 5-10 in the area. Frightland, Night of Terror, Bates Motel. Had a great time. We had grown up going to these. Like, I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so I had Castle Dracula. We had the dark rides. We had the random, trailer haunts on the Wildwood Boardwalk. Like Maurice Pier had one that was off to the right. So I've always loved them. And then we went to all these haunts. We knew what we liked. And then the USA Today Top 10 list came out. What a piece of shit this list is. So this list pissed me off. And to show you how great this list still is, this past season, and I sent it to Brian and everyone else, they had 2 haunts on the list that aren't even open anymore. So then I decided, it'd be cool to review these places, kind of like Yelp. So, I'm looking around, and there's other review groups. Shocker. But it's all positive. Oh, we had a really good time. Come check them out. We had a really good time. Come check them out. All the same reviews. Like, well, I could put my spin on it because I could tell them how I really feel. And that's turned into a podcast, a YouTube channel, and actually one of the videos last year, directly after it, I got an email from an owner wanting to know exactly where these problem spots were, and then they were fixed for her next weekend.
Nice.
So, like, my honesty helped her out. It's never about excuse me. It's never about attacking a haunt. It's what I think they can do to build, because everyone wants to get better.
Yeah.
And in the haunt community, it takes time to get better. You're not going to come out of the gate unless you have like $30 million and be the best haunt in the area. It's just not happening.
Right. And your goal is not to bash a haunt.
Never.
You give an honest review.
Yep.
And you do it in a professional way, because your reviews, you're helping the haunt get more people through the door buying tickets.
Yeah. Like, I'll never come out and be like, hey, your haunt sucks, because a haunt never sucks. It's just, listen, your intensity is completely different from last year. What happened? Or, you're kind of going towards the family fun aspect rather than being what you were. Just, I point out details, and it's turned into tons of interesting stuff to come.
Okay. So you run it with your wife, Terry.
Yes.
And I remember when you guys first started doing the podcast, she was talking like this, and you could
oh, dude, it took so much work for her to get like close to the mic.
I was watching the most recent episode, and I'm like, man, she's a professional.
Right? I know. It only took 200 episodes.
200 episodes. So, where is your Give me your top 3 bucket list of haunts you want to go and
All right.
review.
So we have the Dent Schoolhouse, Cleveland,
Okay.
Ohio. We have Creepy World in St. Louis, Missouri. They have an awesome hayride where all the houses from horror are mocked up, like Amityville, Nightmare, Halloween. There's a Freddy cabin. They have Springwood
Nice.
High. Like there's a
That's
crazy,
cool.
yeah, I know, like the stuff you never
Yeah.
think about seeing.
Right.
Then, of course, the Darkness is a real popular one there. I really want to get down to it's in New Orleans. It's really just the it's in a funeral parlor.
That's creepy.
It's in an old school funeral parlor, and the name's just slipping. I
And
was
I
just
bet
talking
some of
about
the
it
haunt
yesterday.
actors aren't of this earthly realm.
Yeah, probably not. I mean,
Right.
the mortuary. That's what it's called. The
Okay.
mortuary.
So you did a total of 30 haunts for 2022.
28. Yes,
28. Okay. What's your goal for the upcoming season?
not 28.
You want to do less or
No, I had a lot of fun. I
okay.
could do it again, but what I want to do is I'm in talks with certain hearts about certain things. So
Okay.
I'm going to return to a couple, but then I want to do all new.
Nice. Well, hopefully if my unemployment situation works out and I get this job we were talking about, I'll be off weekend so Irene and I can join you on some more haunts this year.
Yeah, we got to send her through Reapers and.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to tell Brian that story what you did.
Oh, dude, I don't think I told you. So you want to do that now, or you want to wait?
We can get into it
All
when we
right,
talk to Brian.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
So all right, so cool. So where can the listeners and watchers find your website and social?
Oh, it's HalloweenHaunts365.com, and from there you can reach this, the podcast, the social medias, even our store. We have a nice little store
Yeah.
set up.
Which I have a lovely t-shirt, me and Irene. We were proudly representing that. And make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to not only our channel, but of course,
Yes.
Halloween Haunts 365. So, all right. So before we get to talk about Brian, I finished Interview to Vampire
Okay.
yesterday.
How was it?
It left on a high note. So if you're familiar with the movie, at least, do you remember when Louis and Claudia poison Lestat?
Yes.
That was the end of the season 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they're going. See, here's the thing. So you can basically get it, and it got renewed for a second season. But here's the cool thing: they introduced the vampire Armand, who in the movie was played by Antonio Banderas. Okay, so and how they introduced him, it was a good twist. So, and it was a good way to leave that cliffhanger for season 1. The girl who plays Claudia, in my opinion, blows Kirsten Dunst out of the water. She's much more evil than Kirsten Dunst. Like
Very
she's
cool.
more like they followed the book really well. So this morning I started the Mayfair Witches, which is in the universe of Interview to Vampire. And this is on AMC, and it has Alexandria Daddario as the lead.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is just worth watching.
Yeah, you're fine there. Yeah.
It started off a little slow, but at the end of the episode, I was like, okay. And it's 7 episodes, and I watched for Valentine's Day. Obviously, I watched My Bloody Valentine,
Yeah.
which is a classic, but it's not your typical slasher. It's more like a Hitchcockian type
Huh.
film. It's a very slow burn. Like
Okay.
I would say like almost like in as slow pacing as like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh.
Okay, the original. And then last night on YouTube, a fan film debuted. It's called Valentine's Bluff. So it's a fan film, which is a direct sequel to the original.
Right.
And it was filmed in parts in Pennsylvania in some mines. And while fan films, you take it with grace. There was some issues, but Nightmare Christie was in it.
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta watch it
And
now.
my friend Corey played her male suitor.
Yes.
And I messaged him and I said, please tell me you had more than one take with her.
She told me she rocked his world, so I was like, oh, I gotta watch this.
Yeah, he said she was nothing but professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he basically took her home from the bar, that type of
Mm.
deal. But unfortunately, the miner's a cock blocker.
Ah,
But
goddamn minor.
Chuck Ryan, shout out to Chuck Ryan. He's a really good cosplayer. Chuck Ryan cosplay, I think is his Instagram. He played the miner, so all that was his outfit, and he did a great job. And there's a twist ending to that. And Lloyd Kaufman's in it. He plays the town mayor.
So good.
He's typical Lloyd
Yeah.
Kaufman. Yeah, he probably had maybe a total of 10 minutes. He like couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, but he was great. So it's on
What was the
YouTube.
miner's name again? Harry Varden, right?
Harry Warden.
Warden, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
He made
definitely
an appearance at Brighton. And the
did
haunt.
he?
Yeah, he came out of a door.
Was he was in costume?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Very
Nice.
good.
Any new horror stuff for you?
Me, I got the Hollywood Monster book that we'll see if I get to read.
At least you can look at the pictures.
I can look at the pictures.
Yeah.
I have not watched anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Here's another horror news. So the Winnie the Pooh horror movie dropped last night, or no, tonight. But I think there might have been some advanced screenings last night.
Okay.
And I saw the article, but I didn't read it. But the makers of the film are getting death threats. And people are calling the police about the foul movie or whatever.
Oh my
God. I definitely want to watch it now.
Disney freaks, man. You can't trust them.
Yeah. No. What about you, Brian? Any horror stuff you've been watching or?
I've been busy, but I did catch, I don't know if you guys have spoken about this yet. A couple weeks ago, Peacock had The Sick, the pandemic horror
How
movie.
was that?
It was very well done. It wasn't great, but I mean, just originality off the charts.
Okay.
Huge twist ending that you don't see coming from a mile away.
Okay.
Definitely worth it.
Okay, because I do have it on my queue, so maybe I'll check it out after we're done, because I was looking to watch something when we were done. All right, awesome. So that's The Sick on Peacock. I saw the trailer and I was like, so I'll definitely check it out. All right, so let's get into the interview with Brian.
Let's do it.
So Jared, you do the odds, I'll do the evens.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, as you can read, because you're live with us for the first time, tell us a little bit about yourself to start.
Horror freak my entire life, like all of us. Started young. I remember the first movie I could ever remember seeing was the original Friday the 13th. Went to got it. My aunt, I have two aunts, and my one aunt was considered the rich aunt, so they were the first ones to get the video cassette recorder. And this is before Blockbuster, before West Coast Video, so it was like Bill's tape rental, and we got the she let me pick out whatever we wanted, and I went with that, and she said I wore a hole in the tape over the weekend, and I was like 6. This is when our parents and our close relatives didn't really care.
Yeah.
But it definitely, and then the haunt stuff, just what better to practice the movies than living it, than scare. There's nothing better than scaring somebody.
Yep.
I mean, it's all in good fun, but it's so great. It's so great.
So how long have you been at Night of Terror?
So going into my 8th season with Night of Terror.
Very cool. Is that the first haunt that you worked at?
It is not. So I worked at the Fright Factory in Philly to start. That was my first professional. Before that, I did a home haunt that was strictly volunteer, March of Dimes, donation stuff. But Fright Factory in Philly was my first professional. Moved up through the ranks there, started scare acting, and then as people left, became a supervisor, and that's where I realized all the headaches are. And then took a little break when I had my youngest was born, and then went over to Night of Terror, which is a huge production compared to Fright Factory, and realized that all the problems are the same. They're just bigger now.
Yeah.
So I like to get more headaches.
So how long have you been in the world of haunting, either as a pro or amateur?
So my first year ever was 2000. So this will be my 23rd year, I guess.
Wow. Okay. So were you like early 20s then?
In 2000, I would have been 22.
Okay, so we're about the
So,
same age. All right.
mhm.
Jared's a young one.
Baby.
Baby. Trust me, my knees don't feel the young ones. Very cool. All right, so what year is this for Night of Terror?
This will be the 28th season.
Mm.
Single location. Been there forever.
So when they first started, how many, if you know, how many attractions did they have?
So the very first year, it was just a hayride. It
Wow.
was just they called it the Ride of Terror instead of calling
Okay.
it a haunted hayride, because everyone calls it a haunted hayride because their wagons didn't have hay on them. So they just went with the Ride of Terror because it was
Okay.
bench seating.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
clever
still
marketing.
bench seating, and I greatly appreciate the bench seating.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not-
Because
it's-
poor Jared, he had a hard time. His
my knees are shot, bro. Like, I'm broken down. I have way too many just shit going on. But when I sit in the hayride,
Mhm.
both legs go completely asleep.
Yeah.
No matter how I angle.
we need to get you like a modified booster seat that clips on the side of the tractor.
That's fine. I'm cool with that. Like, their hayride is one I do not have any issues on. I'm
Right.
good. Another one is Frightland. And then the last one is Valley of Fear because your legs can hang off. So those
Okay.
three, I'm good. The other ones, you saw how I got off of that Field of Screams
Yeah,
hayride. I gotta
yeah.
wait.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's yeah, because I mean, and then it's like for me, my legs were falling asleep, and and when you're sitting like that, you want to like stretch your legs out, but then you can't because the actors, if they get on the trailer, you don't want them tripping over your feet.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I do like the bench seating. That's a better idea. So, all right. So, what is your favorite attraction at Night of Terror?
Talking to you.
I
Nice
wanted to hear your answer.
I'll tell you. Probably Dark Dreams.
Now, which one's that? Refresh my memory.
It's when's the last time you were there?
Trying to think. Maybe 2021.
Oh, it was there.
Okay.
It was the one with the
It would have
facade
been
of
the
house.
last one, yeah.
Yeah.
Whichever one you did last.
You're surrounded by coffins at one point. Like, you have to squeeze through like coffins and dirt.
There's a dentist area in there.
Yeah, there's a dentist
No,
girl.
maybe I didn't go in 2020. Maybe it was 2019.
It was still open then.
Was it? I don't
Yeah.
remember that one.
It's
Damn,
the
wow.
only one with a facade. Like, it looks
Yes.
like a house.
Okay. I think so. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. The one attraction Irene does not like there. I think it's like in the dark room where you go through the closures
yeah.
on you, like you're being the birth canal.
Everyone has that.
Yeah, that's the only one she doesn't like. Because she just doesn't like that whole close thing. I'm trying to think if there was any other parts where she really got scared. No, she does fine with the clown. It's like I love the whole the 3D clown house. That was a good one.
Yeah, that one's killer.
My favorite out of all of it though is the hayride. I love the hayride personally. Yeah. But the first time I went, there was a little person as Chucky, and they got on the tractor, freaked the crap out of me. Because he looked good too. He looked good, and he was probably, I would say, no taller than 4 foot.
Wow.
Okay? And I don't know how he got on there, but I was like, all right, but yeah, that didn't sit well with me.
So we'll transition into what I did to your wife.
Okay.
So they joined us at the media night for Field of Screams.
Okay.
And, I'm close with a lot of actors. Yep. So I basically had the first room rigged to attack her. If we waited a couple more minutes, we would have had video. I don't think I told you that.
Nah.
But, because I sent Chandra in when she saw we were hitting there. So they all attack. I even sent them pictures of your wife so they knew who to attack.
It was great. And then she didn't know about the going into the fireplace where you had to be on
Wow,
your knees.
the crawling. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't tell you that. Weird.
Yeah. So, and I think you told her at the very end of the night,
Oh, yeah.
or after that house, one of the two.
So,
But
yeah, that was a setup, girl.
yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. She's I love anytime I can embarrass her or anything like that. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. You know.
That's what I live for.
Yeah.
Gotta watch you.
Oh, yeah. I'm tricky. All right, so you asked number 6. I'll do number 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does a haunt night look like for you? A night in the life of the GM when you're about to open.
That's why he has no
night.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was all gray. I just shaved it. I'm too young to have that. It is honestly, every night's different, but it is literally a nightmare. Like, we are giving people nightmares, and it's so many moving parts. It's, making sure, number one, making sure everybody gets there safe. Like, that's one of the most overlooked things that people don't consider. I can't tell you how many phone calls we've gotten of people that got in car accidents on the way to work, and it's like, they're like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna be late, and we're like, relax, like,
Yeah.
we'll be here. It's very hectic. It's at any given night you're expecting a couple thousand people. Closer to get to Halloween, the busier it is. It's just, you want to put on a good show, but you want to do it legally, safely, you know what I mean? And that kind of is where I come in. That's, I got a lot of responsibility, but I mean, that's.
So you are the manager, correct? Like, do you have assistant managers, or is it just
Yes,
you?
yeah. So each individual attraction has their own supervisor.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. So what? Okay. So what? If you can, I can't talk off the top of your head. What was like the most amount of ticket holders you had in one night?
That I couldn't even guess. I mean,
okay,
because we give out 3D glasses for the 3D haunt, so I can kind of guesstimate from those. But I mean, it's this season. There's definitely close to 3.5 or almost 4,000 people in a night.
Wow,
insane. Yeah.
Have you ever had in all your years of working at we'll just say Land of Terror? Have you ever had to call 911 because someone just got so scared? Like,
so 2022, we have an infamous record for the most ambulances. It's a terrible record, but we had one before we even opened, which is we've never had an off-season ambulance, and we did. Yes, 911 is on speed dial. Luckily, we have police there already,
right.
So normally they don't have to travel far. But the ambulance, it's not. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
we do have that in Spear and Mullica Hill, but it's still
a hike.
Still cutting through a couple cornfields and wineries to get there. So, but yes, I mean we have full security, and it we take safety. I take safety very seriously, and I because I know if there's going to be a customer complaint or somebody gets hurt, it's going to fall on me. So you know, it's good fun. You want everyone to have fun. You want everyone to go home the same way they came in.
Have you ever had someone say, "This isn't scary. I want my money back"?
All the time. I mean,
really?
That's not the worst, though. The worst is when you get, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, but when you get the Karen that says, my kids are too scared, you scared them, I want my money back, I want to go home. And I'm like, job well done. Like, we did exactly what you paid us for. I mean, that's why most haunts have a no refund policy. You know what I mean? Like, you can use your tickets at any other time of the season, but once you pay for a show, you paid for the show. It's like a concert. Are you going to go up to AC/DC and say, I want my money back? It's not going to happen. Like,
I don't know. I might go out to what's his name, Vince Neil.
Yeah. Dude, do one sit up. That's it. Like, come on, man. Like,
so how involved are you with the build team or creative team?
I remember this question. Not at all. Not at all.
No, your input isn't received.
No, it's not my input. We have a very small crew, maybe 4 to 5 guys, and every one of them is a master at what they do. Like we have a welder, we have a painter, we have a design guy, and we have like the general guy that deals with carpentry and everything else, and they can do their job only, and that's it. If you ask them to do something else, they work very well together, but it's like, it's your turn to work on this project next. Now it's your turn to work on this project.
So you have one guy per like department. Do they have assistants to help them, or
they
no?
don't. It's a
Wow.
super small crew. They basically work all year. I mean, we're only open for a month, and they're working now.
Wow. That's just amazing. Like people, I mean, I've learned a lot more knowledge in speaking with Jared about the world of haunts, but people don't really understand all the behind the scenes work that goes in to putting on your production just for a month and 2 weeks. Like I noticed this year, a lot of the haunts were opening up a little early. Do you have like a ballpark of when you guys want to open up for the season?
We're actually looking at the calendar tomorrow to make the schedule for this year. So
Nice.
We'll know soon. We usually by the first week in May, we know, usually put it out there. We'll know. We'll let everyone know.
So you have 4 crew that does the handiwork. How many haunt actors do you usually have?
We usually start the season with 150 because everybody thinks it's a great job and a glamorous job, and everybody and their brother signs up. The end of the season, we're lucky to have 80.
Okay.
Lucky to have 80.
And so if, say, someone that lived in the area who might be listening to the show, what's the age that they can?
16.
Okay,
minimum
nice.
for New Jersey.
Okay.
Working paper 16 through 18. And it's in New Jersey. It's a little bit better than I think some of the PA haunts because our minimum wage is higher.
Yeah.
So you're definitely making more money at Night of Terror than most of these.
I don't know, Jared. If I don't get a job by September, I'm going to go down back to Jersey and work part time.
Let's go.
All right.
All right. So, did we do that already? What brought you into the haunt game? We kind of talked about that already, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of.
I mean, just
so what brought you into it? Like when you were down there home haunting, when you went over to Fright Factory, what brought it out of you?
So I just the movies. Like I love the movies. And the first time I put a mask on, and they're like, "You're gonna run the chainsaw," and I was a lot smaller when I was younger. And I was like, I'm going to run the chainsaw. I'm like the guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy. I'm the guy. And of course, I couldn't start it,
Yeah.
and blowing that. But I did it for that. And I was like, you know what? They hire people to do this and pay people to do this. And I'll look into it. And, when I went in, I guess 2001, it was a weird year because September 11th just happened. You know what I mean? But honestly, like if you ask anyone in the industry, after September 11th, it was very solemn, but the haunt industry was one of the biggest years ever because people were tired of being scared and they wanted to go back out. And it was exactly a month later, and it was a huge year for everybody. Everyone I've ever talked to about September 11th, that's the same thing. It was one of the biggest years ever.
Wow.
And then here we go, 19 years later, and we have a pandemic and all the haunts were shut down. Were you guys nervous if did anyone say this is going to be the end of us?
We actually were open.
Were you?
We were open straight through the pandemic. We had so many regulations and restrictions from New Jersey, and we had to jump through hoops, and we got them all done. And a week before we're open, hit us with more. And we had to, they're basically, we knew what New Jersey was up to. New Jersey wanted to just shut everything down.
Yep.
And, they give you a list of things that you have to abide by, and you get them all done. And then they're like, shit, we didn't think anyone was actually going to do this. And they gave us new ones. It was definitely the hardest and most challenging year I ever had to work. And, but we did it. I mean, and it was honestly an up year for having to cut our numbers in half to still make it work. It ended up, I mean, we didn't make a huge profit, but I mean,
right.
At least we got to provide some entertainment.
Yeah. And who knows, you might have to, I mean, 2 years ago we had the pandemic. This year it might be UFOs. Who knows? You know.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you see Tom Green's TikTok video?
I heard about it. I didn't watch it yet.
I'll have to find it and send it to you. Oh my, I was dying. It was great. All right, so Brian, so we're going to switch from talking about the haunts and talking more about you and your love of horror. So we know you're an avid horror fan. What are some of your prized possessions?
So
I added that last minute, so he doesn't know that question.
wow, that's a curveball. No, I have some pieces that are really near and dear to my heart. Like I have a Jason hockey mask, which is probably the first. I didn't start collecting until probably 2006, but I do have a Jason hockey mask with complete, like Richard Brooker, which is one of the hardest ones to get because he was, one of the first ones to pass away. That's probably if I started selling stuff because I needed money, that would never go. Like that's probably going in my casket with me. Well, when I get cremated.
So if you had a house emergency, would that be the one of your prized possessions that you would run back into the house and get, or would it be others?
I sleep in it, so it would be on me outside already.
With me, I'd be like Pee Wee Herman and Pee Wee's Big Adventure, like when he's getting all the animals
The pets,
out of the. That would be like my horror den. I don't know what. I would just be like, "There's the wife. Let me get my horror stuff."
Yeah, it. I know. So I looked into like. I do have some really rare stuff, and I looked into getting this stuff appraised.
Mm-hmm.
And the appraisal that's a scam too.
Yeah.
They want a certain percentage of your value worth just to give you, you know what I mean? And a lot of the pieces are, you can't catalog what you have versus what somebody else's have. There are a lot of the same signatures out there, but like who you have, what you have, like the Funko Pops. The Funko Pops are huge.
Mm-hmm.
But the market is flooded with Funko Pops. So if you have an autographed Funko Pop, it's not going to be worth nearly any kind of money in 20 years from now because there's 70,000 other people out there that have the same signature on the same Funko Pop.
Yeah.
But if you have a handmade mask that wasn't mass produced, not a NECA mask or anything, and you have, 40 different signatures on that to the right buyer,
Yeah, Dave Brown, a good friend of mine, he had shared a post on my Facebook, or he messaged it to me. And if you remember a couple years ago, before I was more in couple, I was around 2016 or 17, there was going to be a Friday the 13th TV show on the CW. So we already know it was going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
But they had already made the hockey mask and the silicone mask for it. So obviously that didn't go through, and I believe there was a private sale. Well, the guy who bought it lives in England, and he's now selling it. And I do like the silicone mask because it just has strong vibes of the Part 4 look with some modifications to it. So with that and the Hawk, he's selling it for £6,000. So I got to do the
like $12,000.
Is that what it is?
It's like double. It's double American double.
Well, not that I can afford it anyway, but wow, that jumped up in value because I think he bought it for about $4,000 or $5,000 American dollars. So, okay, so but there's a right buyer. There's a buyer for everyone.
There definitely is.
Like I told Jared this story. I'm really good friends with the owners and managers of the Blairstown Diner, and the manager about a month ago sent me a screenshot of a coffee cup and a coffee mug and a saucer, and he's got a whole set. And then he says, "How much do you think this is worth?" He sent me another photo with it, and if you remember the original Friday the 13th, Steve Christie's at the diner, having dinner and coffee. That's not saying that that's the coffee mug he used, but he still has the whole set. He found it in the crawl space in the diner, like the day he sent me the pictures. And I said, well, to the right person, that could go for a lot of money.
Yes.
So he's going to, he might sell it as a whole set or maybe single, depending.
He would make more money off the single.
Yeah. And the woman who represents a lot of the Friday the 13th alumni, I'm friends with her as well. And I shared that story with her, and she actually talked to the actor who played Steve Christie the day I got this text message, Peter Crowder. And he's never been to a Friday the 13th convention. She's trying to get him to come out to Camp Nevi Bosco because he doesn't think, because he's not in this world anymore, he doesn't think he would be a draw. He would be a holy grail for any Friday 13th fan. And you imagine if he signed those coffee cups?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look what happened with Deborah Hayes when they found Claudette. Like,
holy shit!
Everyone was losing their shit because they're like, "What?"
So Rick Paulton, he said he's jelly of the Brooker Auto. He has everyone but him.
Wow.
So,
oh yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Deborah's going to be back at camp in June.
Yes, I did just see that. Yep.
And they got a good lineup for that weekend as well. I asked Stacy, I said, if you need anyone to help out with the talent, let me know. But she already has her volunteers, but I'm the first on the list if, excuse me, someone cancels. All right. So the plan is, Jared, you're going to put some roofies in Brian's drink. And as he's passed out, I'm going to get that autograph.
Okay.
All right.
We can do that.
So, a quick story about that. So, when I was getting it signed, I got the majority of them at one Monster Mania, where they just had a complete Jason blowout. And everybody was in Kane's line. Everyone was in Kane's line. And I went to Betsy Palmer first. So, Betsy Palmer signs big, right in the top, right in the middle of the mask, right above the chevron. And then I go
Kane spot.
Then I go to Kane next, and I got each one of them in a different color because I didn't want all the signatures the same. So I got Kane to sign in green. He was so against it. I'm like, please, just green. And he looks at the mask, takes one look at the mask, and he's like, that bitch took my spot.
Yeah, that's a spot. And anyone will tell you that's like where other when I was at Jason Fest back in 2019, I had a hawk and I was having the actor sign it. They knew not to sign in the top of the chevron. CJ Graham said, here, I want to do this. I'm going to put an X right there. So when you see Kane in the future, tell him I put a line there so he knows where to sign. I have yet to do that. That's my goal. Next time, I don't go to Monster Mania, but I might have to just bite the bullet and go just to get that autograph. And I'm hoping he does like NJ Horror Con. That's my preferred con to attend. But yeah, I wish I had Betsy's autograph. Irene got me. She bought me one off of eBay, but it'll do. I'll never be able to get one, like a live one. So, and I didn't start going to conventions until like 2013. So I was a late bloomer. So So obviously, when you saw Betsy, that's years ago.
Yeah.
How much did she charge for an autograph?
She was one of the cheaper ones. She was definitely no more than $20.
Yeah, and that's what I remember when I first started going to cons. You could go with $100 and get at least 5 autographs with photos.
Not now.
Now you're lucky to get one combo for that price.
Yeah.
I think that like overnight too. That jump was, even the no-namers are asking for 30 and 40. I'm like, what? Like,
well, freaking, you gotta love them because they got to make their money. Ernie Hudson was doing like his Polaroids in his Ghostbuster costume for like $40 or $50 back in the day. So, but look at Virgil going to the wrestling events. He sets up a table outside the convention center because no one wants him there. All right. So that's the Richard Brooker is the most prized. Do you have like a second runner up to that?
I mean, I do have a Michael Myers where I have almost everyone from the original movie, including Jamie Lee, except for Nancy Loomis.
She's going to be at NJ HorrorCon.
I know. I saw it and I was like, I can only make Sunday, but I have to.
Yeah.
Because it's like Jamie Lee Curtis on one cheek and John Carpenter on the other, Nick Castle, and then on the neck, PJ Souls. You know what I mean? So there's one spot left for her because she's, I think, one of the only ones I don't have. How did
you get Jamie Lee? Did you go to like the 40 Years of Halloween special?
No, Jamie Lee was, I did go to California for it, but it was before they even had It was a different event. It wasn't even for horror. And here's me showing up with my Michael Myers mask. She's like, "Oh, this is fun." I'm like,
So how was she in person? Like,
she would. Her handlers were a little rough. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want you to talk at all. But
she tall.
She's very tall.
And
she does. Well, she had a high top. She wasn't actually sitting down. She was standing at a high top table. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
But I forgot that I should have brought a picture of it. I probably have a picture of it. I'll show you. I have a Kirk Myers split down the middle.
Oh, that's cool.
So the top of the mask is still Kirk, the bottom is Michael Myers, and I got Nick Castle on the bottom and Shatner on the top.
That's really cool. So Rick wants me to tell you the CJ story, and Rick, I'm not sure what CJ story you're talking about. I mean, that was the only one that I can remember at the top of my head. I'm trying to think that there was another CJ story. So if you can type it in, and then maybe it'll jog my memory. I told it. Okay, I told it. Okay, yeah. I mean, the only other story I can share with CJ, like, I threw an event with him in Blairstown, and having breakfast with him was very nerve-wracking, because here's a guy you idolize for almost 40 years. But as we're leaving the diner, I said, CJ, look, you see that Jason on there? That's me. So what does he do? He takes the t-shirt from the diner and like throws it over the picture, and there's a picture of me like going like that to him. But such class act guy, like all the way around. All right, Jared, you're up next.
All right, let's do it. Favorite horror movie?
I feel like this is a setup every time you ask this question.
There's no wrong answers.
I mean, I have different answers, so I'm gonna go with Friday the 13th. That's the one that I remember seeing as a kid. The one that I know it's not a great movie or anything, but as I grew up and learned to appreciate film and filmmaking more, I'm going Exorcist. I know everyone says that, but I mean, for a movie, a horror movie.
That's the one movie that legit scares me. Because stuff like that can happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, to be nominated for 11 Academy Awards as a horror movie, it's unheard. Yeah, it's never been done.
Yeah. Yep. And the book is just as good. I mean, well, it's better, but I mean, as an 18-year-old reading that book, I slept with the lights on for a couple of nights. What about a franchise?
Texas Chainsaw.
And poor Texas, they have a virus of the worst sequels.
Yes.
Each sequel gets worse than the one before. Although I have a soft spot for part 3. I don't know why, but I like part 3.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of part 2.
I like it because it has, it's not as diluted as some of the other ones. It doesn't have as many sequels. But I mean, it's just something about.
What did you think of the most recent one that came on Netflix?
It was hard to watch. I mean, the violence was amazing. I think the violence was great. Good. But just the storyline. I know they had to put modern vibes into it, and
if I could change 2 things about it. One, I want to know how he got to the orphanage. Okay, because they don't discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show a picture of him there, and then Sally Hardesty, like, it just, I don't know, they use a legacy character, but just
kill her in 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, not really, because she still lived long enough to shoot him after that. But I mean, like, it was just like, if it's that all I mean, they did the character a misjustice. If they were going to kill her, they should have made her. I mean, they made her like a Linda Hamilton in Terminator, like the newest one, but they just crapped all over her. Yeah. So it's like, why even put her in there then? But
I mean, yeah, like, I think some of the imagery, like just the poster of him standing in the field of sunflowers.
Yeah,
like a horror movie poster that's taken in the daylight.
Yeah,
that's
scary in itself.
Mm-hmm. And I just love how Bulgaria was the stand-in for Texas, or Budapest was one
cheaper,
either Bulgaria or Budapest. But yeah, the kills were great. What I loved his Thor hammer throw he did. And then like when he jumped out of like the pool or whatever that was in the hotel, like I mean, it gave me like superhero vibes. But that hammer throw he did was just great. But I think the coolest moment was like when he was breaking the wall to get the chainsaw out. Like that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
that bus scene was great. I was like, yeah, get it, millennials. All right. You're up
Back
to-
up, yeah. Favorite horror villain?
I know what you want me to say.
Well, I know what mine is. All our fans know what mine
Frederick
is.
Krueger.
I don't I don't know if I could choose one. I mean, it's I love them all for something different, you know what I mean? Like like South Jersey Jason, like Brian and Brian are gonna go Jason all day. I know you're the Freddy guy.
Hey, I love Jason too.
But you know,
He gets my love.
I would go Jason.
Yeah, he likes little child murderers.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Freddy, you're not even scary. You're not even scary.
Yeah, then he fucked her up.
I was like, yeah.
I mean, in that, I will give it though. In that first movie, when he's just wet and drippy, and I never think he looked so good than in that first movie.
Yep. It looks scary as shit in 2 too, though.
2 is my favorite style of him, yeah. But then after 3, he just they just like gave up on the makeup. Like,
it's all the
whatever.
same, really.
Yeah.
5, he looked like shit, but then he looked good in Freddy's Dead. New Nightmare was a new take, and he looked great in Freddy vs. Jason. So,
what about Reboot?
I told you how many times we don't mention that shit on this fucking podcast.
I don't know about it. You're not a fan?
Fuck no.
Here's the only thing I do like about that one. The makeup was more realistic. Like if you're gonna burn somebody,
when the green screen worked, it was more. You fucking saw it come off, dude.
Speaking of, okay, I don't know if did I share this story? No. Did I tell you I watched the latest Jeepers Creepers?
Oh, I heard that was
what a pile of dumpster fire that was.
Yeah.
So bad on so many levels. Like oh god. I mean, it was oh, that's an hour and a half I'll never get back. I'd rather I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know, you know.
I have heard that from anyone and everyone.
It was I mean the creeper just looked I mean it was so bad. They brought in a coven of witches that like worship him. Like, it was god awful. Part 3 was better and part 3 was a dumpster fire as well. So and that's not saying much.
It sounds like they went and grabbed all the scripts we've been talking about with the Nightmare franchise. It's like, oh, this one's cool.
Pretty much, yeah. So basically it's like the plot is there is the stories were real. I think that's how it goes. I don't it opens up with the guy who inspired the Jeepers Creeper, like the guy who like killed his wife or whatever and threw her down a chute.
I just read that article the other day.
Yeah, it was those are pretty wicked. And so I remember watching on Unsolved Mysteries. But then like the story of the creeper is based off of I think at least part 1 and part 2, yes, because he comes out of the field. Think of Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. How the Blair Witch movie was created such a fandom and they created an event about it. That's the premise of Jeepers Creepers. Okay. And it just goes from there. But yeah, it's a dumpster fire and I regret watching it. It's on Hulu if you want to put yourself through that agony. All right. So Brian, do you believe in ghosts?
I do not.
No?
I don't know. I have a very religious friend at work, and we always converse religion. I grew up Catholic, but
okay,
kind of went to Catholic school for 13 years, so that'll ruin anyone.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing it, you know what I mean? And he's always telling me if you believe in ghosts and you have to believe in the Holy Spirit and all that stuff. And I don't like to mix religion with my horror at all.
Have them come over Jared's for dinner.
We'll have some conversations.
Yeah, I never did. I mean, there would be, there's great storytelling in movies of ghosts and stuff like that, but I'm definitely a science guy, and to not have documented cases of people getting injured or harmed by entities or ghosts, and all these shows that were so big, the Ghost Hunters and all that.
Well, it's gotten blown out of proportion,
Yeah.
But so, what would it take you to believe in a ghost? Actually seeing it with your own eyes, then, right?
I would have to be harmed by one.
You'd be harmed. Okay, gotcha.
Because seeing,
they're smiling like, what can I do?
Seeing it still doesn't make me buy it.
Okay.
I know how many illusions I can create at work.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So we can skip to question 15 because we talked about the biggest challenge. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking 2020. Never mind. So we don't skip it.
So what was your biggest challenge at Night of Terror in 2022?
What, last season?
Yeah.
Ooh, so we had a younger crew. We definitely had the median age was a lot younger, and someone figured out that if I'm hot and I'm tired and I don't feel good, I can go visit the medical tent. And it snowballed. It was like, we only have 2 chairs in there. 2 chairs. If you're legitimately injured, we'll talk to you about it. We have security medical personnel that looks at you. But you get 15 minutes, you know what I mean? If you can't wrap it up in 15 minutes, you have a choice. You can go back to work or you can go home. Not to sound mean, but like, we're not gonna sit there and pay you. If you don't feel good, you legitimately don't feel good. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Go home, rest it up because we need you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it was just one time I walked in there, there's like 7 people in there. I'm like, what is going on? Like, we have 2 chairs. They're standing up, you know what I mean? And it was just, I feel like the younger crew, they don't hold up as well as our generation, and
No.
And it definitely, it was very challenging because I mean, I have to be the guy. I have to be, their direct manager is good cop.
Yeah.
I got to be bad cop.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Which I'm okay with. I understand that's part of my job. But again, they're still human beings, and I like to kind of pet them and make them my best friend. And then if it doesn't work, I go with the kill shot. I'm like, you got to go home. Yeah. Clock out. Let's go. Like,
so when you have like new applicants, so when do you guys start rehearsing?
August.
Now would you call it tryouts, auditions?
We use the word audition. I mean, we pretty much will select unless you're really bad, we'll take everyone. We'll take everyone because we can work with people. Some people just can't perform without costume and makeup on when there's an iPad in your face trying to film you. Some people don't have it.
Yeah,
I got to be honest. We talked about it the beginning of the season. There's some people that gave horrible interviews, and then you put them in costume and makeup, and you're like, "Holy shit! Where was this in August?" Like, right. They ended up being, the great people, and then we had other people that gave great auditions, and we're like, "Yo, you're a stinker! Like, you pick it up a little bit, like."
Yeah, like for me, like when I'm in the Jason character, it's like I'm a different person, because I'm acting that character. So, and I'm, my everyday attitude, I'm kind of like laid back, reserved. So if I was to audition at a haunt, it'd be crap. But put me in any type of costume, I'm a different person. Yeah.
And that's kind of how we preface it at the beginning of every audition. I basically say that. I understand it's not easy to do it right here on the moment, no costume and makeup, but this is what we have to work off of. You have to show us, because we record everyone and then go back and watch it 100 times.
Okay.
So it is. You get those people that really come out of their shell once it gets closer to October. But
so out of your haunt actors, who is, offhand, like who has the most seasons on their belt? Like how many years?
Yeah, I think the person that's been there the longest has been there 15 consecutive years.
Nice. Okay.
And took this year off, took 2022 off. And I'm like, fingers crossed he comes back.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. When you get older, though, I mean, you know what I mean? When you get older, it's not as easy as it used to be. And And
So I think with the next two questions, Jared, we can kind of put them together because they're kind of the same.
So, do we have any news coming out of the camp for 2023?
first meeting is tomorrow, so
So we don't. I figured it was
tomorrow
too early.
tomorrow you get a text message.
So how often, would you rotate or like start a new attraction? Like how many years before you say, okay, let's do something different?
So there's not a huge amount of changes. Like last year was a rough year, and Jared and I talked about this. We did a lot of technical upgrades last year rather than scenery. We had a sprinkler main go, and in New Jersey, your sprinkler system in your indoor haunts is 100% mandatory. And it was like, do we take our chances and let it go? Because if it bursts during the season, your season's over. There's no fixing that. So the sprinkler system was completely redone in the off season before 2022, which was, I think, it's the single most expensive thing you could ever replace, and that really hurt the budget going into last year. He did do some new things. He did build an entire cemetery scene on the haunt. This year, that's not the case. So this year, yes, there's going to be things updated. More. We're going to spread the love around more. We're not going to focus on just one huge scene and redo the whole thing. We're going to keep maybe the scene, but change the theme. Keep the shape, keep the size, change the overlay. Instead of being a sawmill where you got the chainsaw guys coming after you, now you make it an underwater theme where you have the undersea creatures coming at you with harpoons and things like that, where you know the building, the structure, the way the actors come out, everything, you don't have to do major construction, but you have to completely overlay and retheme the whole thing.
You know, like one thing that I like, Jared, and I think I experienced it twice with you, is like how they do like the fog and the laser.
The swamp room.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that effect. That's really cool.
I'm actually going to talk to him off air because of something. I'll tell you too, but it's something I'm not announcing yet. But like I've said in all my previous podcasts, is like when I say a haunt needs to change, it doesn't mean you need to build a whole new attraction. Like even moving a room around a little bit and changing the light from like red to green, it's a whole new fucking room.
Right.
And it costs you maybe $50.
So we're nerds, and we can tell every little detail.
Yeah.
The general public, your average everyday customer, if you just change the room itself, you know what I mean? Like this was a nursery, now I'm going to make it a haunted library.
Yep.
Just the overlay. You didn't change any. The path is the same. They're looking at the same thing they look at, but the overlay is different. They think you changed the world.
Yep.
It doesn't take much. It honestly doesn't. You know what I mean?
So where do you see Night of Terror in 10 years?
I don't know. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm proud to say that I work there. It is definitely a juggernaut. But I guess I'm the angel and not the devil sitting on his shoulder. I don't want to get too big. I know that's like the wrong thing to say in the business world. But if you get too big for your own good, you can't control it. You can't reel it in. And you're going to get just as many negative reviews as you are good reviews. Because not everyone's going to have that great experience if it's overcrowded. And so I really am very comfortable with where we are. I don't want to go too big.
You want to just maintain it.
Yes.
Which is understandable. Because you get bigger, then the cost is going to be more for your overhead, and those are the other things you got to think about. So I totally agree with that.
Because you got to think, I mean, everyone had a hard time with hiring the last 2 years.
Yes. And
then if you were to add a whole new attraction to one of the big studs out there, that's 50 more actors you got to come up with. So, I mean, like,
that's hard.
Can you pull it up? Yeah, but is it going to be a pain in the ass for a growth you're not going to see for 2 to 3 years. It's tough.
Yeah. That's 50 actors you got to hire, but only 30 or 20 will stay.
Yeah. It's such a drop off in the last 5 years. The drop off's been terrible.
Hi, Darth Home. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
My phone died, so I can't join along on the Twitch. So.
I got you. I got the stream up here.
Okay. All right.
Are we tearing the Christmas room out of Dark Dreams?
It's gone. I signed the death warrant.
It was a cool scene. It does give you this nice scare before you enter that room with the hanging stuff. That was cool, but
hey, why don't you do like a haunted Christmas room? I mean, Jared, come on, how cool would that be?
No.
Evil elves.
You just got rid of it. Leave it out. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Oh, Ashley's on. Oh, hey, Ashley.
All
right. We're on 19.
19. Would you be interested in starting your own haunt?
That's a hard no. I don't have $75 million.
Yeah.
Is that how much you need to start it?
No, but yeah.
In New Jersey, 100%. New Jersey is the worst state to own a haunt in.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
100 times over.
Wow. Damn. So is this your only job, or is it only your job for X amount of months out of the year?
So I work there all year. I am employed all year, but really my time really gets busy between July and December. July and December is like tomorrow my first meeting. I haven't been there since Christmas Eve. So a little bit of time off.
Wow. Okay. So you don't work for like Creamy Acres, you work for Night of Terror.
I work for Night of Terror. Yep.
And you get paid all year round?
Yep.
Or really?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been on like a vacation for 2 months?
Pretty much.
Damn.
I mean, I'm still working. I'm still working. Believe me, I'm on that iPad every night.
Okay.
The hours this man puts in starting July, he deserves a fucking 2 months paid.
Right. So do you do you attend like any conventions for haunted attractions?
Yes.
Or are there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's usually when we buy everything, anything that's being purchased for the haunt. Because not everything is sometimes it's just easier to buy something to put there than to think of the idea a bit of yourself. I mean, in the haunt industry, we don't like to use the word steal, but you borrow a lot. There's only so many original ideas out there. There's a lot of borrowing going on.
So is Night of Terror, like, is that like, does Creamy Acres own that, or do you rent the land?
No. I mean, it's one and the same. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It is Creamy Acres is the farm company. Night of Terror is a division. There's all different divisions.
Gotcha.
That would be one of the divisions. There's also Night of Lights, which is your favorite Christmas thing.
Do you have a hand in that, or
I do Night of the Lights too. So do you guys? I don't know if you guys remember. Christmas Eve was our last night.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, it was like 6. All right, walking around on a farm where there's no trees to block wind when it's 6 out during Christmas, listening to Christmas music. I mean, it almost ended for me that night.
So I guess because for Night of Terror, you go like the weekend after Halloween's your last weekend, right?
Usually the weekend, the closest weekend to Halloween. We never go into November because we only have 3 weeks to strip it and flip it for Christmas.
So basically the day after your last day of haunt season, you're getting ready for the Christmas season.
If you look really closely on the hayride, in the last weekends, you'll see Christmas lights off in the distance. They're not lit up, but you'll see them up already.
Wow. So and you've been doing that for the past couple of years, correct? The Christmas.
This Christmas will be the 8th season
already.
Oh wow! I thought it was much. Okay, and does that do fairly well?
So the pandemic completely changed that. So it used to be a hayride where you got on a hayride. I don't know who out of their mind wants to sit on an open air wagon in the middle of a field watching Christmas lights. I don't care if you have a blanket or cocoa. You're crazy. But when the pandemic hit, we were just still doing hayride, But that 2020 where they really started to shut everything down, we could only go 2 weekends, and then they shut us down completely, and we had to flip it and turn it into a drive-through. So it went drive-through to finish out the pandemic, and this year we got so many calls and messages about bring back the hayride, bring back the hayride. So it's still a drive-through.
Okay.
But we added, if you're going to be a diehard and you want to go through the hayride, we'll give you your hayride. The hayride goes through the same trail as the car, but it's an upsell. You know what I mean? You're going to pay more. You know, you could put 8 people in a car and pay one flat rate, or you could pay individually for one seat on a freezing hayride, which the diehards loved it. I mean, the hayride sold out almost every night.
Wow. So I'll have to get Irene and Terry talking Jared.
No, you don't. You know what? Go ahead. I'm going to go hang over Brian. The gift shop's open then, right? Yeah, I'm going to go shopping. You guys enjoy the lights. I love their gift shop.
Yeah, they do have a very nice gift shop. Yes, I can attest to that. Yes. All right, so we're on the last question.
We are on the last question. So I know it's impossible to visit other haunts for you, but if it was possible, what are some that you really want to get to? Or if you have a favorite outside of Night of Terror already.
Well, I definitely am a huge fan of Reapers. I mean, the show's untouchable. I mean, they just... And for the location they're in, like working on a farm sucks, but working on the side of a mountain is unbelievable.
And we'll be definitely hitting that this year.
I still don't know how the fuck they do it, to be flat out.
You know, driving from where I live, it's about a 3.5 hour drive.
Yes.
And every year I go and like a dumbass drive home.
Yeah.
This past season was the first time I ever got a hotel room. It was the greatest thing. I'll never drive again. I'll stay over every time.
Yeah, we learned because when we head up, we're usually there at 3, and then they'll take us through, show us the behind the scenes. Then we'll do a bunch of interviews, and then they'll let us hang out till it gets dark out. So I'm there like almost 7 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just been staying.
Yeah, Reapers. I mean, everybody in our collective, you know, like I can never say a bad. So a lot of people think that it's cutthroat competition in this industry, and it's not.
No,
it's like every owner is you know, they might talk about them behind their back.
Yeah,
but I mean, it is a very, very tight collective.
Yeah.
It is. You know, everyone has respect for everyone else's show. You know, like I said, there's a lot of borrowing going on.
Oh, yeah. A lot of borrowing.
You know, what works and what doesn't work. But, I mean, it's very hard for me. I honestly can't wait till I retire so that I can follow this guy around.
Jump on board, brother. Come on, let's go.
Because, you know, before, you know, those couple years when my youngest was born and I didn't work for 2 consecutive years, I mean, I did so many haunts. I mean, I went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal for 3 weekends in a row, just to, you know what I mean, because I couldn't get enough. Yeah, I would love to, you know, as much as I love it. Like 1 year I had a wedding. You know, there's always weddings in October. I had a family wedding, and I was like, I can't, you know, I can't do it, and I took off, and I was miserable. I was so miserable at the wedding. It was a family wedding, and I felt bad, but like, I'm like, because my brain's like, what's going on right now? I'm not there, you know what I mean? And I know the show can run without me, but like, I'm a worrier. I'm a what am I going back to tomorrow? Like,
I got a funny story about weddings. Terry's friend passed away way back, but she's treated her kids as like her kids. Yeah. He's getting married. I'm like, when's he getting married? She's like, September. I'm like, who you taking? Because sure as fuck ain't me.
Yeah, your friends should know if they're getting married, they got to plan it around your schedule.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I pushed my own wedding back to November for that reason.
And had your honeymoon like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. I told her that. She was not happy.
It happens.
She knows me, though. So, what are you going to do?
All right. That's all the questions.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you got? I got some questions for you too.
Yeah, he wants to interview us a little bit.
You guys, you guys always ask questions. I have questions for you, and some of them are the same. So, Brian,
yeah,
what got you into horror? what was the movie, or what was the single thing
Gosh.
that reeled you in?
Man.
You just stone cold stunned them.
Yeah, God, there's so many, but I think my first recollection. So, my mom, I had a single parent. My mom worked, 2 jobs, so TV was my best friend.
Mhm.
So I just had access to whatever. And my first recollection of something scary was when the miniseries was on.
Okay.
If you remember
Yep.
that. So that was my introduction, and I was probably like 4 years old. And when she was eating a hamster or gerbil, whatever it was, and then I watched the Incredible Hulk reruns, and I remember having a nightmare of Lou Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk, outside my house in Ocean City, and I've always horror's been my favorite genre since about 4 years old,
Yeah.
and growing up, I loved October. Every year on WPIX, they did Shocktober for the entire
Yes.
month. And sometimes they would do a theme week of the franchise, but that was my introduction to a lot of different horror movies. And then AMC, when they used to play the real Monster Fest and had like all the Universal horror movies, like the Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, The Creature, and then the B ones from the 50s, The Fly, Son of the Fly. So, yeah.
Same question.
Oh shit!
Come on, you're not off the hook.
Nah. All right. Well, we kind of went over it earlier, but when I was about 3 or 4 or 5, maybe, I don't know, somewhere in that age, my uncle made me a VHS tape. It was Nightmare 1, Nightmare 2, and Friday 4. And they still had the cheesy early 80s, late 90s McDonald's commercials in them and stuff like
That's
that.
gold material.
I know. I wish I broke the tape. I wore it the hell out.
Yeah.
And I even remember how he hand wrote it. And then he would visit the video stores, and he was basically like the early Napster, because he had a VCR in the front room and a VCR in the back. So he learned how to hook them up.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So he would record all the new movies coming out. So I would check out anything horror he had, and I just watched like just so many that I watched that I don't remember because I only watched them once. But like those early 80s, late 90s, it sat in there.
Yeah.
And then I still love my, Star Wars and Harry Potter and all that, but it's always back to horror. Like if I'm on a plane, I'm looking through the horror first. If I'm, looking through Tubi, I love the Tubi horror selection.
So amazing with their
God.
80s horror.
So like it's always just horror. Then I started picking up Freddy stuff when I worked at a toy store. And that just grew into that crazy collection behind me.
I got a funny Tubi story for you. Is it Tubi? I think it's Tubi. They have softcore porn movies on there.
What?
But they cut out all the sex.
They cut out the what?
It's edited.
You get like
so what the fuck are you doing it for?
You get like what could be an 80-minute movie. That's a 40-minute movie now.
Just to watch all the shit you don't want to watch in a porn?
So you know how Tubi goes right into the next, like if you just let it play, it'll just select the next movie for you to keep going. So if you watch any 80s horror movie that has a little bit of gratuitous sex or nudity, and you fall asleep, when you wake up, you're like, "What's this? I never saw this over." And you click it, and it's like Summer Getaway with the bikini girls, and it's like, "What? How did I get on porn? I was watching 80s horror." But you go down that wormhole and it just keeps picking movies off of how many nipples are in that movie and just keeps going.
Good times.
So I heard you say Ocean City. Did you grow up? Did you grow up there?
I did. I moved out of there when I was 5. I lived on 9th and West.
Oh.
So I was there through a couple hurricanes. I remember seeing my mom's Pinto going down the street in the flood. She didn't get time to, park it on the mainland. But yeah, grew up in Ocean City. And, I remember going to the boardwalk when you can actually play on the boardwalk because there was like 10 feet of height, know? So, and it definitely, I'm glad I grew up there when I did because I haven't been to Ocean City in probably like 5 years, but I hear it's like not even the same anymore.
It's very, I feel like in the last couple of years, the stores, they're not even like boardwalk stores anymore. They're like high end,
Yeah.
yuppie
Well,
fashion
you
store.
got Sammy Sweetheart from Jersey Shore has her shop out there now.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, you still have the surf shop there, and you still have the 10th Street Pavilion or 12th Street Pavilion where all the weirdos hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jilly's. You can't beat Jilly's.
Well, she's got a ton of shit up there now.
Who's that?
Jilly.
Really?
Yeah. Arcades, stores, ice cream places.
Oh, wow. Okay.
French fry place and t-shirt place.
Yeah, I worked there. My senior summer after my senior year, I graduated. I worked on 12th Street Playland, and I used to park at the bus stop by McDonald's when you could park there. They didn't have meters there. And I remember so I would go into work smelling those French fries. Ocean City McDonald's had the best French fries back in the 90s. And then coming home or walking back to my car at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'd walk by the Dunkin' Donuts when they used to make the donuts there. Oh. And they would leave the door open and that smell would hit me. And I would just see all those glazed donuts, and I just want to walk in there and get the donuts.
Oh, that's funny.
Earlier, you talked about that the hood or the cowl for the Jason. We're talking 6,000 English pounds, about 12,000 American dollar. If you had it and you could, would you do it in a second?
Not for that one, no. I would for a legit that was used in one of the movies.
Okay.
The fact that it was supposed to be in a TV show and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just another cosplay costume to me.
Okay.
There is a gentleman that he lives in Germany, Mario Kittner.
Yep.
He has
the book. You have the book?
I do have the book, but I sold it because I called him out on being an online bully. He was bullying someone they made a hockey mask, new artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was mocking the guy. So I called him out on that. And I said, if you were anyone else, you're a simple troll. But the fact that you own the majority of all the props and costumes from the franchise, and you're going to sit here and mock someone for being a new artist, I said, that's ridiculous. So, then he started, just saying that I don't know how to take a joke, blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what? I bought your book, but I don't want to own something knowing that the person that you are now, and a couple of people joined me and we sold our book. So, I wouldn't pay that much money for something that wasn't used in any type of show. But if I had the money and I had the opportunity, because Mario's starting to sell the stuff out of his museum, so I think he's going under or something. But
I did see that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the initial and then the ending, I was just like, oh my gosh. But I don't know. Even if it was just a piece of the latex from one of the costumes, I would buy it. But if I had the money and my wife said go to town, she would kill me if she didn't give me. I had to get the approval if I want to see tomorrow. I think if it's the one that I would probably want to own if it was still around would be the Part 3 hockey mask, because that's the one that started it all.
Yeah.
And that's wasted away in someone's shed after the movie was made. Yeah.
So, Jared.
Oh, boy.
What if I told you you're not the biggest Freddy fan that I know?
It'd be a little surprising, but I wouldn't be that shocked, probably.
So, my tattoo artist, his name is Steve. He is Freddy fanatic. Has all the Freddy shoes. He plays bass in a band. The frets are red and green on his bass,
that's cool.
Hardcore. I was like, dude, let's tone it down a little bit. It lives, eats, breathes Freddy. But so another segue into the haunt, though. When the pandemic hit, all the tattoo artists were out of work.
Yeah,
they couldn't have that close contact. So that was right before the pandemic hit. Was when we were building the 3D playground.
Right.
the clown haunt. And the artwork in there is phenomenal because that's what we got. We got 2 out of work tattoo artists, gave them airbrushes and a radio and beer and said, go. And 2 months later, you walk in there and it's like, whoa, better artwork than we've ever had.
So he's a big fan. So I bet he owns the reboot DVD.
Oh, for sure. He doesn't. He doesn't like it either.
I told you I have it because it came with the set.
Right. Well, that's the only reason you do.
Yeah, I'm not buying that piece of shit.
I mean, I was pretty bummed because Jackie Earl Haley was coming to Cherry Hill, and now he's
not.
Canceled. I just wanted to get the glove. I have that glove. I just wanted to get
he's a great. I mean, I love him in Watchmen. And he did a great performance as Rorschach, and I'm like, I was all for him being Freddy Krueger. Now, Jared and I had a discussion about who could play Freddy. So, Brian, who do you think, or who would you like to be cast as a potential new Freddy?
Wow, that's tough. Well, what are your ideas?
I'm with Evan Peters,
and
I was with that before Dahmer came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that way before.
A, his eyes, and B, that man has played every fucking role you could think of.
Yeah.
But I think of American Horror Story Hotel, where he's H.H. Holmes with the big presentations.
Yeah.
That rang Freddy Krueger to me.
Yeah. Now, he's a little older. We'll say if it was like, say, 15, 20 years ago. I do like the Evan Peters idea, but I also would like to see Kevin Bacon as Freddy. Because he can play a psycho.
He was in Footloose. He's a pussy. I can't stand
come on.
Hey, he was in the Holy Grail of horror movies, all right?
And he was annoying as fucking there. There's a storm coming through.
Yeah, the wind shaped it a good 120 degrees.
It's going to rip right up that cannon. Can you please fucking die?
No, but he played some demented, what's the movie he was in with?
Did we see his latest commercial? Can we talk about that piece of shit?
The EV commercial?
Yeah.
No, what is the movie with Jason Patrick where him and his friends are sent to like a juvenile detention center and Kevin Bacon's
where
like
he plays Nooks the guard.
Yeah. Sleepers. He was good in that, being that creep and sadistic. I liked him. Okay, now a lot of people didn't like the tone of the movie, but They Them on Peacock. He was sadistic. He was sadistic in that movie. He started out being a nice guy, but then as the movie progressed, he just got eviler and more evil to where he shot his own dog. So,
How about Stir of Echoes?
Stir of Echoes was good.
I mean, he was pretty good in that. I mean, he wasn't the creepy part, but I mean, he played. No, you're out on Kevin Bacon.
I'm not a fan. I liked him.
He played a pedophile too.
I liked him in one thing, and that was the fucking Galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. It's the only time I fucking like Kevin Bacon.
Oh, come on! What about the one movie, Whitewater Summer with Sean Astin, where he's like the evil, like outdoorsman?
No, I'm good.
Just
he never did it for me.
Such a hater. So, but yeah, I think if they were to, finally redo another Freddy movie, go the Evan Peters route. I mean, because he's still young enough.
What he did in Dahmer was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think back to Hotel, the charisma he had in that. Freak Show, the charisma he had in that. I think he's the only one that can effectively pull it off.
But is he too big now?
No, because he didn't win an Oscar yet. He just won an Emmy, or a Golden Globe, or whatever.
At this point, the way Wednesday blew up, and what's her name?
Jenny Ortega.
Jenny Ortega's blowing up and still doing horror. I don't think you can be big enough now.
But I think she's more easily attainable than Evan Peters would be right now, because she's not an award winner yet.
Right, but if you went with a good director and a good script and said, we want you to bring back Freddy Krueger, I think you'd do it.
Oh, in a heartbeat, he would do it.
It needs
'Cause
to be done.
He's still young enough to where, like I said, if they did a Freddy Krueger in the vein of the Rob Zombie Halloween, like split it up into twos, maybe,
Yeah.
and then that's how you can start the new franchise.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
I don't know. By the time I think we're gonna get a new Jason something before a new Freddy something.
Probably. You guys.
What do you hear about this TV show? Is it definitely a go? Like,
Oh, it's a
definitely
go.
Yeah.
It's a go. I am for one behind it 100% because a couple of things. A24 is producing it, and
A24 did Bodies,
I'm-
Bodies, Bodies. I just want you to know that.
well, yeah, but there's some hit and misses,
I know.
but they do a lot of great
Say my
independent
piece.
horror. They also did X and
Hey,
Pearl.
Beautiful movies.
Yes. Now there's two types of Friday fans. There's the older generation, and then there's the millennial generation. The older generation, for the longest time, for the past couple of years, have been wanting a prequel series with Pamela. The newer generation, they just want hockey mask Jason to kill, 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 gore, 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 gore. Now, if they do the prequel series, supposedly it's going to run 4 seasons. It's too long if you're just doing it about Pamela. You can get 2 seasons out of Pamela's story. So if they use some of the two-parter comic Pamela's Tale, it can go from when she was with Elias up until she kills him, and then going. So that could be like 2 episodes right there. And then she goes to Crystal Lake, gets a job at the diner, and then eventually as the camp cook. You end the first season with Jason drowning and her just, that's going to hit her psychologically and end it with her just crying. The second season will be everything that happened from the time of his drowning up until the time she picks Annie up in the original. There you go. Because in between, she set fire, poisoned the water, and then killed Barry and Claudette, and then picked up, Annie. That's all you can do. 2 seasons right there. But they want to get 4. There's going to be elements of Jason in it. Maybe it's going to be a young Jason. I don't know. But it's something. We haven't had anything Jason related since 2009. So
yeah, you guys got the good remake movie.
I mean, it was good. You either love it or hate it, but man, if you hate it, you hate it.
Yeah, they're a little rough on it.
I'm like in between. I didn't like the characters. They were too just god awful,
over the top.
Yeah,
over the top. I love the look of Jason.
You mean you didn't like the nipple placement, baby?
Oh, well, who didn't like nipple placement? There was
that dude cracked me the fuck up.
I mean, and he was, there's I love how they did the whole Texas Chainsaw correlation where the guy that picks them up is basically the same guy from the reboot Texas Chainsaw in the tow truck.
Yeah.
But Derek Mears was great. So if they do another Jason movie, I want Derek to get another shot. He deserves at least another shot. I thought his machete was too damn long though.
Yeah.
It's like, are you compensating for something? I like the whole underground lair thing.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. Some people didn't like the fact that he held her hostage. Who cares?
Yeah, but that underground chamber had a lot of Easter eggs too, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool addition.
Yeah. So when it comes to the movies, now that's where you get into mucky waters because Victor Miller owns the rights to the name Jason, whereas Sean Cunningham owns the rights to Friday. Well, Victor owns Friday the 13th, I believe, or it might be vice versa. But Sean definitely has the rights to just the hockey mask. He doesn't have the rights to Jason. So if Victor was to make a movie, it would be a hockey maskless, sack maskless, sack headless Jason. If Victor Miller or Sean Cunningham does it, he can't call him Jason. So they have to come together.
That's never happening.
Which is not going to happen because Sean Cunningham's a dick. I'm totally for Victor. he got the short end of the straw. He's not looking to make money for himself. He wants something to leave his family. Because he's like 80 some years old. So he didn't know back in 1978 that, this movie that they were going to make in 1979 was going to be $1 billion franchise. He stole the formula of Halloween, and he'll gladly tell you that's what he did. He just put it in the woods. So if they want to get it, I hope they start soon, because the ideal time to put it out would be in October of this year, because we have Friday 13th. If not, the next Friday 13th is not until December 2024. So, yeah, I'm
Is
for it.
is October Friday the 13th on a weekend? Oh, it's a Friday.
It's Friday.
Jesus
Yeah, you can't go. You're busy. You're doing your haunts.
Yeah, I won't see anyone. We got to figure out what we're doing with this come September, October.
Well, maybe we just take a little hiatus.
No, there's no hiatus.
Just record them now. Record them and play them.
That's what we might end up doing.
We might have to do double up in August.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. So, any more questions, Brian?
What is both of you, what is your sleeper horror movie? One that is not super mainstream, but near and dear to you.
There's a couple.
Ooh.
We talked about one earlier. Hell House LLC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I really liked Funhouse. Funhouse Massacre, I watch every time it's on.
I tried to watch that. I couldn't get through
Really?
it.
It was funny. I enjoyed it. And then Insidious is a little more mainstream, but that's become I love those.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. My sleeper. I would have to say before it got all big, for more recent, would have been like the original Terrifier.
Yeah.
But now it's mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, here's the thing, and this is why the newer generation of the Friday 13th fans want gore, gore, gore. Terrifier is just gore porn. That's all it is. But
it's more than that though, because Art's a creepy fucking character.
I'm just talking about the first one, not so much the second one.
Well, I'm talking about that one too. Like,
the second one expanded his story
a little bit.
Yeah.
But you still don't know where the fuck he came from. You don't know any connections. This dude just shows up, stalks these two girls, and fucking kills them. And then in the second one, it's continued.
He fillets a girl.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Now, that's all the fans want now, the younger generation. Like, I watch these Friday 13th fan films, and the majority of them are, what kill can Jason do next to outshine the previous kill he did in this movie? That's not who Jason was. He's an opportunist with a lot of his kills. He didn't go for, let me, see how much of your intestines I can rip out. It was like a one shot, I'm knocking your head off, And as unfortunately, this newer generation, that's what they want. And my friend Dave makes a film where it was more story building, character building, to go in the tone of at least the first three. And the older generation, they liked it. The newer generation was like, where's the gore? Well, there was gore, but not enough to their liking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked, I liked, my friend Josh got me into Terrifier, and I didn't watch it. I knew he was a fan, and it was on, I think, was it Netflix or something?
Yeah, it was on Netflix for a long time.
So what shocked me was, Irene and I will watch a horror movie, and I'm like, do you want to watch this? Because Josh says it's pretty good. Sure, I'll watch it. She loved it. I'm like, I was shocked that she liked it so much.
Yeah, Terry liked it.
Yeah. And, meeting, I met David Howard Thornton out of costume, great guy. And at NJ HorrorCon back in 2021, his line was the longest out of all the other talent there, which shows you something. Good for him, And I had the opportunity to do an in photo costume with him, which was really cool to see Art like in costume. But it just goes to show you now, Hollywood has true competition now. Like WWE has with AEW. So, good for them. $250,000 to make that movie, and they made well over
Yeah.
I don't know how many millions of dollars. But other than that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that like a sleeper horror. Probably like The Exorcist 3 because it's
The startle scene alone.
that one scene gets me all the time with the big
Yeah.
scissors. It's coming out on 4K next month, and I have that on order at Best Buy. That and Dr. Giggles.
Wow,
yeah,
that's pushing it back.
yeah.
I haven't seen that forever.
I know.
I can't even find that. It's not like on any of the. Well, I think it's on like maybe one streaming channels that I don't have. I tried to get off of my Fire Stick. The damn thing won't even download. So
that means no one has it because that's usually pulled off of servers.
Yeah, no,
that's tough.
I have it on VHS. If you have a VCR,
nice. I saw that in the theaters.
Got anything else for us, sir?
I'm good.
No. What's your favorite haunted attraction movie?
My favorite haunted attraction movie?
There's a few.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was telling him earlier, I got Spooky World, which is probably the biggest haunt that started in the early 90s that started the haunt industry that we have today. Somebody had a VHS promotional tape of it, and now I'm looking for a VCR because I cannot wait to watch this tape.
Go to a thrift store.
He was throwing it away. I'm like, don't throw that away. I want that. Are you nuts?
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right,
guys. Thanks so much for stopping by the stream. We're up to 11 followers. I know. Crap. We had some traffic.
Nice.
Ashley jumped in. Darth Home Galaxy, I guess, jumped in. Rick Paulton saved our lives.
Yeah.
Because that would have fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know.
I know that name.
Maybe I know he did go to Blairstown. Maybe you met him.
Okay.
Maybe he came to your table. Yeah. Oh, and if the listeners, if you want a really kick-ass candy corn lamp, reach out to Brian.
We got ours staying in our living room. I'm high and proud. Even though she did take it down for Christmas, though.
What?
Yeah, talk to her.
Oof. And she didn't open it up and eat the candy corn out of it?
I put it over here so everyone can see it on camera.
Well, there you go.
All right, guys. But thanks for stopping by. This has been the Horror Shed Podcast. We will see you next week.
As long as the UFOs don't get us.
You'll be fine. Bye.